Welcome back for today's college basketball pick video play for Thursday, January 23rd, 2020. If you want to catch all of our college basketball picks for today's action, you can check those out over at stumpthespread.com, which is linked at the top of the video description. These two teams, they actually have the same overall record and the same mark against the spread. Michigan State, they're coming in as 4-point favorites on the road, going to Assembly Hall to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. Are at 14-4 with that 9-9 mark against the spread, which is mirrored by what we've seen from the Hoosiers this season. Now, Michigan State, they came into the year with very high expectations. They haven't been able quite to live up to that #1 preseason ranking that they had. But Michigan State right now, they're standing atop the Big Ten with a record of 14-4 and then 6-1 in conference. But the Spartans, they've picked up those 6 conference wins against a fairly manageable schedule because they've had a lot of home games. Now, in terms of what they've shown on the road in Big Ten play, they were only able to win at Northwestern by just 5 points, and then their only other road game was that pitiful 42-71 loss last week at Purdue. Now, the Spartans were able to bounce back in their last outing, getting past Wisconsin by a final of 67-55, but we need to see this Spartans team actually prove themselves against very high-level competition and not just on their home court. So the Spartans are going to have a ton of opportunities to do that as they work their way through the rest of Big Ten action, especially this week as they go to Indiana, and then they follow that with a game at Minnesota, and then they come back home for what should be a manageable contest against Northwestern, but then they go right back out on the road for Wisconsin. And the week after that, they go on the road against Michigan and Illinois. So again, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for the Spartans to try and prove themselves a bit more away from that very strong home court advantage that they do a good job in general of defending. Now, the Spartans, they've been a bit better than the Hoosiers in terms of the numbers that they've posted this year, where their point differential is around +15, whereas the Hoosiers are at about +9. So on a game-to-game average, Michigan State has been about 6 points better than the Hoosiers, but then when you factor in the home court edge, it feels like Michigan State is maybe getting a little bit more respect than what they should be coming to this one, especially with how they've not looked great on the road in Big Ten action. So the Indiana Hoosiers, they've been a little bit less consistent than you'd like to see, but during their last homestand, they were able to take care of business, taking down Northwestern as well as Ohio State. And then in their last outing on the road against Nebraska, picking up the victory by a final of 82-74. The Hoosiers are at 4-3 right now in conference play. This is a team that has talent and has shown a high ceiling at times, but again, a little bit less consistent than you'd like to see. We'll see if Indiana is able to take advantage of their home court in this one against what currently is the top team in the Big Ten in terms of that overall conference record. But given the struggles that we've seen from Michigan State, particularly in their last outing, getting absolutely rolled by the Purdue Boilermakers, who have not lived up to their expectations. That's a Purdue team that's just one game above 500 with their overall record and 3-5 in conference. This is arguably a tougher matchup potentially for Michigan State going into Indiana. So we like the Hoosiers actually to be very competitive and keep it within a close range where they maybe have a chance to go on and pick up the upset down the stretch. But nonetheless, we like Indiana getting those 4 points on their home court as the better value bet. If you agree, give the video a thumbs up. Disagree, give it a thumbs down. And you can check out all of our college basketball picks over at stumpthespread.com, which is linked at the top of the video description.